Well, hello everybody, this is Tim Green with Rattle Magazine. Welcome to Poets Respond Live, our Sunday morning news show exploring current events through the lens of poetry. Thanks so much for joining me. Hope you're having a nice Valentine's Day if you're in a place that celebrates that. And we have a bit of a special Valentine's show. We have a couple Valentine's-y poems for you. But before we begin, I should say that Rattle is a publication of the Rattle Foundation, a 501c3 nonprofit working to promote the practice of poetry. We've been in continuous publication since 1995 and are unaffiliated with any other organization. We just do this because we love poetry, and I know you love poetry, which is why you're here, so please do click that like button or whatever you're doing. Just click something right now. It helps a lot to make sure these shows spread around the internet, which is what we want to do. Now, Poets Respond Live, of course, is an open mic, mostly, and the way that works is... first of all, if you haven't set the poem in yet, you can email it to openmic@rattle.com. That's openmic@rattle.com. Do that first right now so we have it to show on screen. If you submitted it through Submittable this week, I can just pull it up that way. You don't have to worry about it. But if you haven't, or if you've edited it, send it to openmic@rattle.com right now so we can show it. And then all you do, if you'd like to get in the open mic reading list, is to give me a call at 818-850-7727. Let it ring a few times, then hang up. Or, not both, but just one or the other. If you'd like to be on video too, which is great, just send me a chat message like Laura Waltz did today, and over Submittable, or not Submittable, a chat message over Skype to Rattle Poetry, all one word. Just say hello there, and I'll call you when the time is right. So that's the two ways to join in this fun poetry sharing exercise every Sunday morning, or morning for me anyway. Got my coffee right here, and looking forward to sharing some poems. Now, today's poet is on the road, so can't join us, and hasn't gotten an audio yet. The audio partridge says it's coming. But today's poem this week, we basically... it's always interesting to see what the articles are every week, and we sort of had two sort of veins to go in. There was stuff about the Trump impeachment was a very common theme, and then the other common theme was sort of still, as we're a year into this pandemic, there's sort of a sense of just being tired of it. There were a lot of poems in that vein, and tired of the winter too. I think winter makes it so much harder, and this poem was one of the latter. And it's based on a story from Reuters. I'll put it on screen here right now. This is Partridge Boswell's poem. And a British teenager is slowly emerging from a coma nearly a year after being hit by a car and has no knowledge of the coronavirus pandemic. That's from an article in Reuters. And in the note here at the bottom, Partridge just says, "Slowly we wake. Has less ever been more of silence or silence such a din?" And... yeah, so it's really interesting to think about, what it would be like to not know what this year has been. I don't know, something to daydream about. And this is Partridge Boswell's poem, Aphasia. That you can't talk yet, could only blink and smile yes and no, both for perhaps. Makes perfect sense. You'll find words later, or not, to correct journalists' and historians' attempts. For now, what can be said? The shit hit the fan, the car the child. The world collided with itself for a while. We were comatose, then woke, tidied up the mess and moved on. Your disbelieving eyes widened as if to say, sea shanties, really? We told you the water was rough. You'll just have to trust us. Overnight, a winding cabooseless train arrived and left. It's all the same and for the best. What's this world coming to if not change, for good or ill, a keelless rudder against the waves? You wake at noon to afterthought, unmasked family milling about the bed, sensation returning to your limbs. One day soon, sun will glance the dewy pitch of your face, and a word like joy will come fluttering out. Just wait. No need to force it. The unthinkable takes time to process, and the clocks are still broken. Truth is, you didn't miss it much, if anything. Another year at home glued to your phone, arguing over whose turn it is to take out the trash. Some things are hardly worth forgetting. Take it slow. Let your body and mind get acquainted. like new and ancient friends who come in from the cold, sit down for tea, and gaze out the window at something long lost and familiar to them both, a buried sled or mittened orphan from its string, a name perhaps, emerging through the melting snow. It's just a beautiful poem by Partridge Boswell. Thanks so much for sharing that. So too bad that Partridge couldn't be with us today. Wishes he could. Let me see. So that was our poem for today. Now let's go back in time and let's look at a poem since it is Valentine's Day. Let's look at, I think this is the only Poet Respond poem we published for Valentine's Day. And let's see. Yeah, making sure everything's working. Yeah. Okay. So the other poem that we published for Valentine's Day was 2018, and this is a really popular poem here. This is Sally Ashton, and the title is based on a viral social media post. It kind of explains it. It's self-explanatory within the poem itself, and here it is. This is let's get rid of Valentine's Day and replace it with Second Halloween. And this is Sally Ashton reading it.
Let's get rid of Valentine's Day and replace it with Second Halloween. You know an idea is hot when it has 126,876 Facebook likes before you've even seen it, and it's only mid-January. Already thousands are dreading the day in spite of those yummy conversation hearts and gummy bears that spill from aisle caps in every store, making their appearance in my CVS December 26th, along with hearts pierced by arrows, which is possibly one of the reasons many of us would rather bring back the Halloween displays. Witches, spiders and monsters, the bloody fingers and mummies, axe murderers and vampires, zombies and ghosts, even the French maids, or sexy costumes for men, which unfortunately are more ludicrous than sexy, my favorite, however, being the golden dong, Google it, which seems to bring us somewhat back around to the problem with Valentine's Day, and why many of us would prefer to apply fake scars and warts rather than face the sickly array of red satin lace and roses, the profit-driven reminder to get it on. What's the point of a holiday that excludes nearly half of us, those who for whatever reason identified as single on the last county census, though many choose single versus the only other choice, married, so who knows what really goes on behind closed doors. But Halloween is all about opening doors and giving away something sweet to whoever is standing there, no matter what they look like or who they are. Perfect strangers. And all anyone has to do is hold out a bag and ask.
Once again, that was Sally Ashton with Let's Get Rid of Valentine's Day and Replace It with Second Halloween. I don't know. What do you think? Second Halloween? Not bad. I like that idea. Let's see what you have now for us. First up, the first person to ask on the list was Don Krieger. Let's call up Don, see how Don's doing today, see what he's got. Don sent us a poem through openmic@rattle.com, so I have it right here. I think he might have two, actually. Hey, Don, how you doing this morning?
Hi, Tim.
So how you doing, Don? What's up?
Oh, I'm good. Just here in Pittsburgh working, actually, but I had one of these poems I sent you. I thought I'd like to read it.
Yeah, sure. Is there two? Is there afterward from the writing workshop and Martha's Dowry? Is it?
Yeah, they're two pieces of the same thing, as you could tell, I'm sure.
Yeah, well, why don't you read them both and tell us what they're about, though, first?
Well, this is a Black History Month thing,
Mm-hmm.
but it's really white history because I'm white.
Okay, well, let's go ahead and hear it.
Martha's Dowry and George's Will. He was one of the few who was not carried away by power. Robert Frost. He was 11, heir to the family farm and 10 slaves. Later that year, he bought 8 more, and yet another 7, as a young man. He lived 3 generations. At his death, he owned 123 and 153 more. Martha's dowry doubled in their 20-year marriage. His and hers hostage to the law, destined for return to her first husband's heirs. George's death freed his own, though he left it to Martha to sign their deeds. He was our first king in all but name, principled and elegant, said Abigail Adams.
Oh, that's interesting. Coupled with the quote at the beginning. Yeah, thanks for sharing that, Don. Do you want
You
to do you
want?
want do you want to share the other one? Because
I,
we
I
have you. Might as well.
I'd love to. It really goes with this one.
Okay.
Afterward, from the writing workshop. The poem got pilloried in the writing workshop.
Oh, so this
Here's
is
the story.
afterward. Oh, for this poem. Okay, interesting.
Yeah, yeah, this is the story.
Okay.
It's didactic. 2. How many times did someone post the same thing on Twitter today? 3. It tells me what to think. 4. I can't tell if the piece is meant to undercut or support the Frost quote. These from 4 of the 5 men present. The 5th abruptly left the meeting as I read the poem. When he called me the next day, 1. It's not poetry. 2. It denigrates the father of our country. 3. Henry Hyams and Judah Benjamin were Jews and Confederate government officials. Most people owned slaves, and you would have too. 4. We ended slavery in less than 100 years. That's an extraordinary accomplishment. 5. It's hate speech. I asked about this last. His answer, it's didactic. I urged him, you really should read White Fragility. I had given him a copy last year. He responded, I couldn't understand it. Anyway, my girlfriend is African American.
Thanks for sharing that. That was Don Krieger with 2 poems, kind of really one poem, I'd say, going
Yeah.
together. Thanks for sharing that, Don.
Thank you, Tim.
Yep. Bye. Okay. Let's go to Nivedita Karthik. And Gail Hemmon has some haiku. James Gaynor's here with some poems. Let's see. Hey, Nivedita, how are you doing this morning?
Hey, Tim, I'm doing great, thank you. And how about you?
I'm doing good. And what do you have for us today?
So this was a week of truly, truly bizarre news stories, like so bizarre that I didn't know what to pick.
Yeah.
It was that's finally I decided on something trite. It's for Valentine's Day. But here's a listing of some of the really odd news stories this week.
Okay, let's
Of
hear
course, there was the lawyer case that we all knew about.
it.
And then there was, I think it was in Florida, there was a highway chase of a goat. Exactly. And then there was a koala in Adelaide that caused a 5-car pileup. And what was brilliant about that, once the koala was rescued, as it sat in the car, before the person could enter, it sat and was clutching the steering wheel, almost as if it were. That was there. And then there was this farmer in Canada who grew like world record breaking turnips that was sort of like 60 pounds or something like that.
Oh,
and
wow.
I was like, okay, there's no way I'm going to be able to, pick one of them. It was like really hard. Let's just go for Valentine's Day. So
Okay, sounds good. Let's hear it. A sweet Valentine.
So this was based on a news story that this year, apparently the sales of chocolate and candy is doubling all over the world for Valentine's Day. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
You don't need an expensive candy. And since you're stuck inside the house and have been for a year, of course, people are going to pick out on candy. They don't need an excuse, really.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, let's hear it. A sweet Valentine.
A sweet Valentine. This February 14th, let's not think about the 13th or the 15th. Instead, let's rendezvous under the sprinkled rainbow and drown some sorrows in gooey cookie dough. The rocky road now firmly behind us, I think it's time to finally discuss Why our love was never the five-star kind. Perhaps it was because my taste was more refined? We'll never know. But gazing up now at the Milky Way, where a million starbursts hold sway, I wonder, was it the M&Ms or Reese's that made your heart go into deep freeze? Chewing over, I try to find how to get thoughts of those others out of my mind. But for now, it's just you and me, my bae. My darling Hershey's kisses, you sweeten my day.
Thanks so much for that. I love the Reese's and Freeze rhyme. That was a good one. Yeah, so yeah, we did the same thing. I got some candy for Megan because you can't do anything else. I mean, if you're being responsible, I guess there's nowhere to go. There's no you don't want making somebody deliver flowers or anything. So
I think the whole reason I wrote this was because, well, my base technically Hershey's Kisses, and I really don't want a person. It's more the chocolate that counts. So, and there's sort of many candy names hidden in there. That's why some of them are italicized. So they're all sort of candy names or something related to candy throughout the poem, scattered through, which is why
I noticed that. I was going to ask, what's 5-star? I never heard of that before.
5-star is a Cadbury chocolate. The company Cadbury has a chocolate called 5-star.
I never heard of that one. Okay, well, cool. Thanks for sharing that, Nivedita. Always a pleasure.
Thank you so much, Tim. It's always lovely talking to you too. Have a lovely day.
You too. Bye.
Bye-bye.
There was Nivedita Karthik, of course, with a sweet Valentine. Let's call up a first-time caller. This is Laura Wolf, who I mentioned. Before I do, just let me remind everybody to, if you would like to join in, the number there is 818-850-7727. And if you'd like to call over Skype instead, it's Rattle Poetry, all one word. Just give me a message that way, or give me a call and hang up, and I'll just call you back within the next hour, but before the show ends. So do that now if you would like. Let us go, as I mentioned, to Laura Wolf and see what Laura had for us this week.
Hello.
Hey, how you doing, Laura? Thanks so much for joining us. I think you're. There you go. It's quiet now. So how you doing, and where are you calling from?
Des Moines, Iowa.
First, if you want to be on video, the camera button is next to the hang up button. There's a little camera icon. Just click that. You haven't yet. Yeah, there you go. Hello, good to see you. Let me size this right. There you go. So you're calling from Duluth? Is that where you said?
No, Des Moines.
Oh, Des Moines, Iowa. Okay, yeah. Well, thanks so much for joining us. So glad you could, and everything works out great for a first time over Skype. That's always great when we get it to work.
I know.
So what do you have for us?
I have the blame game. And I just thought it was interesting that when you have millions of people that feel one way and another millions of people that feel another way, and nobody's listening to each other.
Yeah, we have real problems in this country.
I know. I want us to listen to each other.
I feel like that is exactly the same way. So let's hear this. This is the blame game. Let me get it on screen for everybody. Here we go. The blame game. Go ahead whenever you're ready. I have it up.
The blame game. The impeachment stirs up fear and anger. Democrats focus on finding blame. His speech is just an excuse to impeach. Trump's speech did not cause the deaths. Are not the rioters responsible? Their actions caused the deaths. The impeachment is a distraction. Ignorance is listening to only one side. Both sides need to be heard. Not all Democrats are evil. It's rare to find a Democrat who believes not all Republicans are evil. Shame them, blame them, turn your back, call them names. Who cares what they have to say? Whether you're Democrat or Republican, should it be okay to promote hate towards millions of voters? Democrats have been told Republicans are white supremacists and racists. Sad thing is, too many believe that is a fact. Shame them, blame them, turn your back, call them names. Who cares what they have to say? Rioters in disguise spread their lies. Trump haters swarm like flies. Shame on the blame game. Stop the fight. Share some insight. Listen to each other. You do not have to impeach because of Trump's speech. You can agree to disagree. Republicans blame Obama. News blames Trump. Democrats go along. How can we unite when both sides believe they are right? the other side is wrong. Would it not be better to give credit for what is right? News keeps that out of sight. Change the illusion, stop the division, create a vision.
Yeah, thanks so much for sharing. That was Laura Walth with the Blame Game. And yeah, the thing is, you could see this coming decades ago with the way we silo ourselves. The Republicans staying with Republicans, the Democrats staying with Democrats, and never interacting like we used to, or not having a national narrative or something. I don't know what the solution is, though. It's tough because I don't see it getting better. It just keeps getting worse. Thanks so much for sharing that, Laura.
Thank you.
Yep. Have a good day.
You too.
That was Laura Walth from Des Moines, Iowa, sharing that poem, The Blame Game. We have the unknown caller. I think the unknown caller is usually Carlton Johnson. Yep, and Carlton sent me a poem. Let's read Carlton's poem, and then we have James DeCillo on the line. Nancy Iannucci is here. We'll do Nancy. I thought I saw James Gaynor, right? Oh, that's for the for Tuesday's show. Okay, never mind. So James isn't here, but we'll do Carlton Johnson's. This is Blue Dogs, and he references since Carlton. Oops, there was a problem. Pack of bright blue stray dogs spotted in Russia see viral pics is the headline. Really interesting headline, but the article isn't here. Let's see. Let me Google the pack of bright blue dogs, Russia. See if we can find these photos, because the article was removed, I guess. A pack of this is from the Daily Mail. Oh, wow, look at this. Okay, so I'm glad we looked at this. These are crazy pictures. Let's look at this. This is Carlton Johnson's poem. I'm gonna be reading in a second, but here is the article. A pack of stray dogs are turned bright blue by pollution from chemical waste near Russian factory. It's kind of heartbreaking to think about a little bit. But let's look at this picture. Man, there are a lot of pop-ups in this website. This is the Daily Mail. But here are the pictures of these dogs. Look at these dogs. Oh, man. Poor doggies. A flock of stray dogs that are believed to have turned blue by pollution from chemical waste were spotted near a disused factory in Dzержinsk of Russia's Nizhny Novgorod region. And that's courtesy of the Daily Mail. And here is Carlton Johnson's poem. Blue Dogs. The stray dogs roam the snowy roads near the abandoned plant east of Moscow. They've stopped in the road, alien dogs, dogs of a different color. Now, perhaps, they wish they weren't so visible, so garish against the background of pure, unadulterated snow. They, however, don't look down or sad, and yet there they are quite irrevocably blue, so blue their once white coats no longer hides them from small animals to prey upon. Now they pray for handouts from the curious who can't keep from staring in this lonely mirror of winter. Locals say it was a copper waste these feral dogs feasted on that turned their coats azure. Perhaps eventually they will lose their blues and return to their ivory coats hidden from view. And that is Blue Dogs by Carlton Johnson. Very sad pictures to see, but interesting too. And I don't know, could you eat enough? It seems like you couldn't eat enough copper without dying to turn your coat blue. I think they must have rolled in something. I think that's much more likely than having eaten it, because copper's pretty toxic. And okay, to biology anyway. Let us see who is next. We had James DeCillo next. Let's see what James has for us. So the phone's ringing for James DeCillo. I'll find his poem while we do it.
Hi, Tim.
Hey, James, how you doing today?
Good, very good. I was. It was interesting to see Dawn Krieger in Pittsburgh,
Yeah.
my hometown. So
Oh, that's right. Yeah, we got two
yeah,
Pittsburgh poets today. Do you guys know each other
yeah.
by any chance?
No, I do not. No. So I have to maybe meet him someday.
Yeah, yeah. After the
Uh,
pandemic, got to get a good poetry
yeah,
group going.
yeah. And then I was reminded Nivedita's poem about the candy. I actually my wife loves this candy at Trader Joe's. It's a, dark chocolate peanut butter thing,
Hmm.
and and we haven't been able to go there because there's a huge line all the time because they're at 50% capacity or
Oh, yeah.
something.
Hmm.
So I got up this morning and at 8 o'clock and availed myself of senior shopping and went in with the intention of getting these chocolates, and didn't have any on the shelf. Bless you.
Sorry. I tried to mute it, but I didn't hit mute fast enough. Sorry, everybody.
Yeah. So they didn't have any on the shelf, and I asked one of the people to help me, and they went into the back, and they said they were just unloading a truck. So I waited 20 minutes and was able to get these candies for Valentine's Day.
Well, that is a real sacrifice. I hope it came with that story.
It was appreciated.
Yeah, I bet. So what poem do you have for us today?
Well, I wrote a poem. It's called Bridge Too Far. And I was inspired to write it because there was a flood in the northern India where a glacier broke off and created, and I can't pronounce the names of the rivers. They're way beyond my capacity to pronounce them. But it was a devastating flood that came down and scoured the landscape and ruined a dam, two hydroelectric plants, and also killed a lot of people.
Yeah, if
So
anybody saw, I saw the video of that on Twitter and things. It's terrifying watching that wall of water come down.
yeah, yeah. So I'll read it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Go ahead. I'll put it up.
yeah. Okay, a bridge too far. Uh, Man-made structures span the fluid, often turbulent, wetness flowing beneath. The opaque enigma overridden, but not overcome, by rigid, graceful aerial engineering. We cross without being mindful of the swiftness of water. We cross confident in structures that arch, sway, sing in the wind. We hold back liquid with walls of concrete, our alchemy transforming water into electricity, rivers into highways for our ships and barges, until the flood, when we are reminded of the insistent push of hydraulics and the resulting moonscape, empty of everything, even us.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, good poem to take that to Hydraulics, A Bridge Too Far by James Asilla. Thanks so much for sharing that, James.
Thanks, Tim.
Yep, have a good rest of your Valentine's Day.
Yeah, you too.
Bye. Yeah, it's James DeCillo. Let's see. Let me do another poem. This was the original editor of Rattle before me was Stella Sue Lee. She's the one who hired me in 2004, and her favorite poem actually was Mickey Myers' "Sweet Nothing." I don't know if this was her favorite poem, but it was definitely one of her favorites, and she brought this poem up. So, and it's a perfect Valentine's Day poem. So let me read this, then we'll get to let's see. We have Nancy Annucci left. Yeah, but that's all. So if anybody else would like to call me, we have plenty of time today. It's going to be a shorter show, but there's plenty of room. The number once again is there it is, 818-850-7727 if you'd like to call in, or send me a chat message over Skype to Rattle Poetry, all one word, if you'd like to join us. But before you do, make sure I have your poem either through Submittable or to openmic@rattle.com. Okay, so, but let's read this poem by Mickey Myers, "Sweet Nothing." And just really, let me get rid of that. This is Mickey Myers' "Sweet Nothings." There we go. And there's this epigraph. "I had a dream once. I went to work late. I found somebody else at the machine. He messed up the hearts. The boss blamed me for it. I was so upset. Then I woke up. So you have to know what you're doing. You have to know how to adjust the machine. That's from Tony Santos, who I guess worked at the Candy Heart Factory. And this is Mickey Myers' Sweet Nothings. The Candy Heart Maker works 16 hours a day. He reads the red endearments to himself under the roar of the machine. How are you? He asks no one. Dial my number. When the hearts turn him down, bob on past to the next pair of greasy hands, he shakes his head no way. At night, he changes light bulbs in an office building downtown. He whispers sweet nothings to them when no one else can hear. Say yes, tell me, on fire. You can hear him at the bar, his hands clasped tight around a beer. All right, hint, hint, gotcha, so fine. He takes them home to his girl, but they're not free. 3 for $1, and still they make him pay. Say no, you bet, go away. After dinner, her face folds itself into a fist when he pulls a pack from his pocket, trying to make conversation before clearing the dishes away. 2 years and nothing seems to change. He's so tired he can't think of anything to say. On the way out, she asks him if she's more than just his sweetheart, and he says, I hope, cutie pie, your tops, be mine. When he looks up, his true love's gone, and there's no one but himself to break the silence. He wants to tell her how much he loves her, but can't adjust the machine. That is Sweet Nothings by Mickey Myers. I think there was a typo in there, which I'll have to fix. I'll leave that up and fix it in a little bit. That is interesting to see. Now, but Stella Sue really loved that poem. And she put it in the best of Rattle. Let's call up Nancy Iannucci. Try to find Nancy's poem while it rings. Hey, Nancy, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you great. We don't have any video if you want to turn that on, but you don't have to.
Okay. Speaking of typos, in my poem, I left Marlon Brando hanging there.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope the Sweet Nothings, I mean, that was an issue way before I was here. I hope that wasn't like in every issue and nobody ever noticed it. Tying instead of trying? That's weird. Hopefully it's just on the website.
I'm getting a double here.
What's that? Oh, you might have your stream on. Turn that off. If you're watching it somewhere, turn that off so that, because there's a delay, so you'll get confused.
Let me get that off.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, am I on? Did I bump you off? Okay.
No, you're here. You're here.
All right. Sorry about that. Let me just try and... Okay, start. Should I... Yeah, I'm trying to find out how to get to the camera here.
Yeah, it's right next to the hang up button. There's a red hang up, and then there's an icon for a camera. It's like a little square with a little triangle.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah. There you go. Okay. That's how you turn your video on and off. Right next to the mute button too.
Okay. Is it? Can you see me?
No, not yet. We can't.
Hit the camera and it's not on. Maybe.
Yeah, it might be that your camera's off. Let's just do it by audio. So what do you have? The James Dean turned 90.
Yes.
Well, that's kind of self-explanatory. But yeah, what do you want to say about it?
So I've always been a James Dean fan, so I felt like I needed to commemorate this 90th birthday and how he's still so relevant, you know. Mm-hmm. So this is my attempt at a sonnet. So James Dean turned 90 and doesn't look a day over 22, still messing about in his size 9 boots, bongos on his back, proud Hoosier roots. That's right, and he's cute too, dancing with Eartha Kitt, who taught him to move. He can play before me any day. And poor Marlon Brando had to give way to the one true rebel, and that was Jim. The guy who walked through windows instead of doors, taking every generation on a 3-film hypnotic indoctrination. We're just a new crowd of infatuated Platos, decades later, bewitched by his individuality, tweeting his revolution into immortality.
Excellent. Yeah, I remember that. I love a sonnet always. I love the way you move through and gem and stuff in this poem. It's good rhymes and stuff, too. Thanks so much for sharing. That was Nancy Iannucci.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Nancy.
Bye.
Bye. And T.R. Paulson's here. TR has a Valentine's Day poem. Let's call up TR Pulse and see how she's doing. If that works, let's try it. Phone's ringing. I don't have the text, so we might have to just listen. But let's see what TR has for us. Well, yeah, let's see. So TR, no answer at TR Paulson, but let's try again, or maybe TR can call me. It's ringing. Sometimes the ringer's off, sometimes the connection isn't good enough to get a connection, so you just never know. Okay, so TR, it's not working, but you can try calling me. In the meantime, who is this? So Geo-echolocation sent a haiku. Oh, wait, no, this is just a question in general. Do you allowed to read others' poems? Yeah, people can read other poems if you want. Let's see. Let's see. Just call me. See, if TR try to call me. In the meantime, we have a little haiku I'll put up with from Gail Hemmon. Here comes TR. Hey TR, just turn off your stream in the background so there's no echo. Yeah, I can hear you. Hello TR, how are you doing today?
Good.
Do you want to turn the camera on or just leave it on audio?
Wait, I need to find the camera.
It's the middle button between the hang up and the mute. There you come.
Okay, you get my bad head this morning.
No problem. How you doing?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing great. So what do you have to share? You said you had a Valentine's poem?
Well, it's sort of just a sudden urge when you said you were light on callers, so it's a poem that I submitted to you at the beginning of the pandemic when you were getting like 8,000 submissions every day.
That was crazy.
I submitted it, I believe I just looked it up on Submittable. I think it's March 13th of a year ago, and I have revised it a bit since then, so the one I have in front of me may not match the one I submitted quite perfectly, but...
Okay, yeah, that's fine. Right? Yeah. So introduce a little. What's it about?
And then it's called Sex Drives. Have you found it?
Yeah, I have it. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it was about germs and the way germs are just trying to reproduce just the same way we are, basically, and It's a sonnet. And so yeah, that's about it. It's now forthcoming in Athlon, which is a journal of... Are you familiar with it?
Yeah, I've heard of it. I don't know if I've seen a copy, but yeah.
Yeah, it's forthcoming there. I'm not sure when, but
Excellent.
You guys can now get a preview of it.
Well, as you know, I always love a sonnet, so let's hear it. This is Sex Drives, and still appropriate. This is never not in the news, and a Valentine's Day poem too, so doubly appropriate. Let's go ahead.
Sex Drives. Studies show that germs cover every surface in the gym: mirrors, balance balls, mats, barbells, benches, walls, and the window and the space between the man running on the treadmill and the woman doing body pump. He watches her pretty face and buns of steel as sweat rolls down her chin, then splatters on the display, stops to blur the flashing lights, the laps, the minute countdown. After, the woman showers as those life-filled rivers flow down her body and the blue-gray tile, her sweat destined for the drain. Between suds, a sliver of hope for horny viruses that lust for hosts and await her touch. It's then they cling to her to hitch a ride on fingertips, up to her mouth and eyes, the way inside.
Oh, wow, that was really good. Thanks so much for sharing that, TR.
Yep.
Yeah, always a pleasure. Have a good rest of your day.
Yep, thanks for letting me read.
Yeah, my pleasure. Bye.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Yeah, same to you.
Bye.
Bye. Okay, so TR Paulson with Sex Drives. Danny Mask. I'll just answer for Danny since he's calling right now. Hey, Danny, how you doing?
Up to her mouth and eyes.
Hello?
Hey, Danny, how you doing?
Oh, good.
I just figured well, I was just you were calling while I was just hanging up with TR, so I figured I would just answer. How you doing today?
Hey, I'm doing great. A little sleepy, but doing good.
I remember you had a poem. I'm trying to remember what it was about, but I remember it this week. But say more. What do you want to? Yeah, what do you want to read?
I wasn't going to read that one. Does it have? Do you have to have it in front of you? Can I just read it without sending it to you?
Yeah, why don't you go ahead? Go ahead and read it. But introduce it first. Tell us what you're talking about.
Well, this was an article that was actually it was a video. Actually, it was an article about a video about a British cook who was telling people that it's better to butter your toast on both sides of the toast.
Interesting. It's kind of messy.
And I just thought, huh?
Tasty but messy, I think that would be.
Well, I was just thinking about, my God, the fat content of all of that.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, I sort of coincided that with what was going on in the world, so I mixed them all together.
Is this the poem Butter?
Huh?
Is it Butter? I think I have it here from a couple months ago.
Oh, okay, yeah, great.
Oh, okay, cool.
I might have revised it slightly, like I always do.
Yeah. So go ahead whenever you're ready.
Well, what a surprise! Thanks. I didn't think that was. I thought I was too late. I had a poem that I was going to read, but it was too much of a downer on Valentine's Day, so I thought I'd read something else.
No problem.
Here we go. While civilization is burning with meticulous instructions for self-destruction, Nagella tells me to spread butter on both sides of my hot toast for a better breakfast. Already I know the awful power of fire. My bread can't toast fast enough. Like a practicing suicide aspirant holding a dangerous weapon for the last time, I lather butter on one side, then the other, with my dull knife, and do the fat dance. With my mother weeping tenderly for me in another room, there is no point in pretending that I live in an ordinary world.
Excellent. That's a surprising turn there at the end. Thanks so much for sharing that, Danny. Glad you could call in.
Great. Thanks, my friend.
Yep.
See ya.
Yep. Have a good one.
You.
Okay, it was Danny Mask with Butter. We have Caitlin Bucksbaum as maybe the last caller today. Let's call up Caitlin, see what Caitlin has for us. Hey, Caitlin, how you doing today?
Good. I woke up extra early on accident because I wasn't feeling that great. But
I'm sorry you weren't feeling good.
Yeah, I'm doing a little better now. But I figured I'm not going to do a video today because, yeah.
Okay, no problem.
And also, I'm on my phone. I don't know if I said that. So, the poem I'm going to read is the one I sent you last week about Groundhog Day. Hold on a second.
Okay. Yeah, I gotta pull it up too.
And it was the Daily Drunk picked it up, so I can send you a link if you would rather. But I don't think I changed anything.
Yeah.
So.
Let me see. It's always nice to show off, somewhere it was published. So let me see if I can find it there. The Daily Drunk.
Yeah, I think it's dailydrunkmag.com. I'm trying to find a way to send you a message. It's hard doing this on my phone. I hate Skype on my phone.
That's okay.
There we go.
Let's see. Okay. We got it here. Perfect. And of course, Groundhog Day being the best movie ever.
Yeah, it's funny because the poem is actually not about the movie, but everybody wanted to associate it with the movie. And this is also a magazine or blog that is big on movies, and so I'm okay that they made the association.
Yeah, very cool.
But I thought this was so. I actually wrote this on the tourist town prompt from a couple weeks ago, and because I just saw this funny news story about people being allowed to buy cardboard cutouts of themselves and put them like in place for the event.
Oh yeah.
So here we go.
Okay.
In Punxsutawney, Phil sees his shadow. On Gobbler's Knob, surrounded only by his inner circle, and the cardboard cutouts fans could purchase in advance, have signed and mailed back as souvenirs of the time they were two places at once, may be absent from their own inner circles, and jealous of Phil's friends, chuckling nervously at the paper faces frozen in vicarious joy, until the groundhog announces there will be 6 more weeks of winter, and the annual wine festival has been postponed another 9, and the inner circle swears they saw a shadow cast over the crowd before heading for safer hills, soothsayer in tow.
Excellent. Thanks so much. It was Caitlin Bucksbaum, of course, with a Groundhog's Day poem in Puxatawny, Phyllis Sees His Shadow. Thanks so much, Caitlin. Always a pleasure.
Yeah, thank you. And just plug one more thing. Tonight I'm reading my Valentine's Day poems on the radio, which is also going to be on YouTube. And I forgot to check if it's Radio Free Palmer or Big Cabbage Radio. But if people want to watch that, then they can.
Well, why don't you leave a link if you can in the notes or in the chat window or wherever you're, Facebook or YouTube, and maybe people can follow you. Thanks, Caitlin.
Thank you.
Yep. Have a good one.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay. I think that is the show for today. Thanks everybody who joined in and read some poems. Now we'll finish up with the haiku as we usually do. And my haiku this week, of course, being Valentine's Day week, the science news sites always come out with some love-based science news. They try to time it like that, hoping for a little virality. And what I noticed this week was this article. This is from Duke University, Duke Today, and lemurs show there's no single formula for lasting love. Brain imaging reveals that not all monogamous mammals are wired for love in the same way. And basically what happened here is, so voles, which are kind of rodent-like animal, are one of the few mammals. I think only, it says like 3 to 5% of mammals are engaged in monogamous relationships. And voles is one of them. And about 30 years ago, there was a study of voles' brain circuitry. And they found these extra oxytocin receptors. And so and that's where this idea that oxytocin is like the love chemical comes in. And that was kind of big, really 30 years ago. It might have even done, there's those like love potion type movies and things back in the 80s. That might have been the inspiration for that. But researchers here at Duke took some already dead lemurs and studied their brains. And they found that I guess it's just lemurs, most lemurs are not monogamous, but red-bellied lemurs are. And so researchers looked at their brains to try to find the same sort of love circuit that they found in voles 30 years ago, and they did not find it. So love is much more complicated than the sort of myth that it is just based on this oxytocin circuit. And anyway, so love is complicated is the idea for this study out of Duke University. And here's our little haiku for today. Oops. Get it back. There you go. Here's my haiku based on this little news article. Great love in the red-bellied lemurs grooming. Great love in the red-bellied lemurs grooming. And that is the haiku for today. That is the show for today. Thanks, everybody, for joining me. As always, it's always a pleasure. I love hearing these poems. I love reading them on Saturday, and I love getting to share some extra poems with everybody who likes to watch. Thanks so much to everybody. We got, there are 50 people watching live. One thing I want to remind you, if you're watching on Periscope or Twitter, that live streaming feature is going away at the end of this month. So make sure you find your way to YouTube or Facebook. I might stream it somewhere else. I don't know too. We'll see. But for now, make sure you're following us there if you're used to following us on Periscope or Twitter, because those live streaming options are going away. So if there's some other place that you watch live stream video, let me know. Send me a message or something, and I can add your platform. I can add as many as are worthwhile. So let me know. But anyway, thanks so much for today, and have a nice Valentine's Day. Probably the worst holiday of the year, but if you like it, enjoy it. And I'll talk to you soon. Before we go, I should say that the next guest on the Rattlecast is going to be Rebecca Starks. That is Tuesday, February 16th, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Her book is Time Is Always Now. Most recent, she's got another one forthcoming. And it was delayed a little bit, so it's not out yet, but we're reading a bunch of poems from there, too. And so you get a preview of Rebecca's forthcoming collection. Rebecca was a winner of the Neil Postman Award for Metaphor. I'm just a great poet, and looking forward to talking to her on Tuesday. And the prompt Tuesday is to write about what is the phrase? How do you phrase it? A chance encounter with a mysterious stranger? Is that what we said? A chance encounter with a stranger. It doesn't have to be mysterious. Just some kind of stranger encounter is the prompt for this week's open mic. And that is Rattlecast number 80, of course, with Rebecca Starks. Tuesday, February 16th, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Hope to see you then. In the meantime, have a great rest of your weekend. Talk to you soon. Goodbye.